Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Network. It is Tuesday, August 2nd. I'm here with Marina Lutz. She was a super volunteer at the DNC convention. We actually spoke at the convention while things were going on, but I wanted to kind of do a recap now that the convention's over. Things aren't as fresh. More information has come out. First, just tell us in terms of being a super volunteer. How you were chosen to be one and kind of what you were told your role was going to be.
Um, well, what was explained to me is that they basically the campaign determined all the people that had worked the hardest throughout the year for Bernie.
Hmm.
I mean, I gave tons and tons of phone banks, so I'm guessing they went through to see that way, what people were volunteering for. Um, I'm not sure where super volunteer from. I think Robert Becker might have used it. He was the
Hmm.
one who was organizing, everything at the DNC for us, the volunteers. Um, but I had also been called out on Slack by another person that works for a political person in Washington who was helping out.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, uh, I forgot your question.
And what were you
Oh,
told? What
you
was going to be
received
your role?
Yeah, we received an email asking us if we wanted to volunteer at the convention and that our role would be on the floor of the convention, um, helping the delegates from our state get seated and be comfortable, bring them water, whatever it was that they needed, as well as helping to put out fires. And there were a couple of other job descriptions. Most of them involved driving, so I said I would rather work on the floor of the convention with my delegates.
Hmm.
Um, but the thing is that on the first day that we got there, they kept holding up our credentials and holding them up and holding them up, and then we never got on the floor. We never got to help. Finally, at the last second, they said, "We're going to give you credentials, but it's only so that you can hear Bernie speak," because he spoke on the first day. And I don't know if you were ever inside the arena, but when Bernie came out, he got a 3-minute standing ovation with people cheering. It was crazy
Yeah.
and fantastic.
Hmm.
And I'm sure that that was it for the Hillary campaign. They were like, we cannot have this. This does not look like party unity. We need to show the mainstream media that this party is unified. So they took away our credentials for the entire rest of the time.
And when you were, who was your point person? Was it the DNC? Was it the Bernie campaign?
The Bernie campaign.
Okay. So when the Bernie campaign found out about that they were pretty much stalling you to get credentials and then denied you credentials, I'm assuming they didn't just sit there and say, "Oh, sorry." Did they, on your behalf, try to kind of work with the DNC to get those credentials for you?
Well, they kept trying. I mean, we were working with someone named Kyle, and I could look it up in my email. There was another girl, two other girls, Deborah, and oh, I feel terrible that I can't remember her name.
Okay.
Um, but there were two other girls, so three people from the Bernie campaign that were trying to organize all of that,
Right.
and um, they uh, what happened on the second day on Tuesday is they said, we can't get you credentials. We don't think we're going to be able to get them for the rest of the convention. Why don't you come by our office? I guess that was the campaign office on Tuesday, and we'll give you your checks. So they paid us a minimal amount, a stipend for food for being there for the week. So we went by the office, and there was a ton of Bernie swag there, and they said, just take it. So a bunch of us took a lot of posters and there was a local girl with a car, and we got in the car and went to FDR Park to distribute the swag to all the protesters there. Some people took part in protests that were going on around City Hall and, the Philadelphia Convention Center. So people sort of split up in different directions, thinking, well, if we can't be inside, then we need to be helping, doing something outside. We got to the park. I was with two other people. One of them was Jill Everett, who you also interviewed with me at the convention. And then that was when we found out that they had built a second wall around the convention center. So originally there was one wall, or like a tall gate, that had been built around it. But now they had built a second wall that also blocked off the subway station, so that the only way to get back after being dropped off in a car was to walk a mile to the next subway station.
Right.
It was crazy.
So I just want to be clear.
Yes.
You guys paid your own way to come to
Yes.
Philadelphia.
Yes.
I've heard everything from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 for some people. A lot of volunteers, I'm assuming, took vacation time, whatever, to come. You were told when you were coming, you'd be on the floor the whole week,
Yes.
helping your delegates. And then when you got there, the DNC, Hillary Clinton's campaign, whatever the combination, pretty much called an audible and shut you out. That's pretty much what happened.
Yes. And then they had, even the first day, they had a lot of what I would call goons on the floor that were kind of, they didn't want us to sit. And then when we did sit, if we left to go to the bathroom, they didn't want to let us back in. And they were sort of, manhandling us. I'm sort of healing now, but I have a bruise on my arm from someone who grabbed me and didn't want to let me get back into my seat.
When you say goons, were these people who worked, people in the aisle, that security, or who
They were
they?
Security. I don't know who they worked for.
Okay.
I don't know who hired them.
Okay.
I know that there were Hillary people that were planted in the Bernie section, that every time we were put in the nosebleeds also, I should add, and every time we would yell for Bernie, cheer, or say anything Bernie-centric, someone would turn to us and say, shut the fuck, just shut up. They were screaming at us. And there was a very weird girl. She was definitely a Hillary plant. She looked very, Washington conservative, blonde, on the phone, talking into her phone. It was almost like it felt like she was, giving someone notes about what was going on. I guess it's easy for us to get paranoid,
Right.
But, we were all very upset because we were there to work. We were excited to be there. It was an honor for us to be asked to be at the convention, but we also really wanted to help.
Let me ask you, obviously you can't speak for 800 volunteers, but I'm assuming people kind of felt very disheartened, betrayed. Most of the people that were volunteers. Were there talks, since they were so mistreated?
Yes.
Of, this is pushing me further away from the Democratic Party, and Jill.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there were. Most of us were crying. We were very upset. I followed a lot of stuff on Facebook. I don't use Twitter as much. But the people that they the campaign put us up at the dorms at Rutgers campus in Camden. So I had gone back to the dorms and grouped up with a whole bunch of people on Tuesday that were very upset. And I have emails from people and stuff people that I met that they posted on Facebook about what happened to them after that. And some people just went straight home because they're like, well, what's the point? Mm-hmm. And that's what I started to do. And I actually had gotten a call from Angela, the delegate from Oregon, telling me that Robert Becker had gotten myself and the two other girls that you interviewed credentials for Wednesday to go to the convention. But I was already on my way to the train station to come back to New York when I got that phone call. And I just thought, why do I want to put myself through that again? Because even the first night when we came back on the train, we were surrounded by Hillary people that basically, I need to look this up because I wrote it down, basically said that, we let Bernie run. We let him push his issues through on the party platform. We let all of you run around supporting him. We allowed him to be part of the Democratic Party only as a show. Basically, we let Bernie run as a farce.
Oh, how kind of them to allow him.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And I mean, as it is already, I can barely even talk about it. It's so emotional because we did work so hard for him and we believe in him and we know that he won. We've all been following all the lawsuits that have been filed, and it's not like it's anything new for someone to steal an election from somebody else. Obviously, that's happened before.
Let me ask you, putting the disclaimer that Donald Trump is a maniac and he's a menace and he's awful and these are all true things, and I understand people who will do whatever they have to make sure he's not president. But just as a matter of optics, when they treat you this way, and they pretty much treat you like second-class citizens, and if you're not going to fall in line, there's the door. They don't care how much money you spent. But then on stage, you have Hillary Clinton saying we're the party of the working class. You have Cory Booker quoting Maya Angelou. Meanwhile, he takes more money than anybody.
Everyone's paid off, and she's a liar, and the DNC is a highly orchestrated, polished commercial for Hillary Clinton. I mean, I've never been to a convention before, but that's what this one obviously was. She did not want Bernie people there at all. The party is not unified. I don't believe that she's going to include any of the things that were discussed in all the platform discussions. I just don't believe her. Mm-hmm. She's just putting on a show. And basically, by picking the VP that she picked, it was like giving the big middle finger to the Bernie people. Mm-hmm. And they had set up, and I'm not sure who this was, maybe Lori Sesnick. I imagine you might have spoken with her at one point. I don't know if she set it up or if she just talked about it on her Facebook Occupy DNC page, but they had set up a place where you could go and hashtag DemExit. And a lot of people went immediately on Tuesday to leave the Democratic Party. Right. And they all went green. And people literally took their Bernie shirts off and put Jill Stein shirts on, or turned them inside out and took a marker and wrote Jill Stein on the other side. I mean, and Jill was there, and she was having a rally. And I know that a lot of the Bernie people are planning to put their support behind Jill because she has the same rhetoric as Bernie, right. Even more.
And I should say, I'll be, for those who don't know, I'll be at the Green Party convention this weekend covering it. So,
interesting. I just started reading about her VP selection. So
yeah, he's very inspiring, that guy.
I haven't personally made any decisions because anything, as we know, this election season's been so crazy. Anything could happen between now and November. Right. So I'm holding out for a miracle. Mm-hmm. But I know I'm not going to be voting for Hillary, and I'm not going to be voting for Trump. And I do also know that from what I've been reading about them, because I try to inform myself about everything that's going on when I'm going to be voting for the President of the United States, that I believe that Hillary is way more evil than Donald Trump. I mean, I would never vote for either of them. But, she has spoken even more recently, actually, about how nuclear armament is on the table. and the new Prime Minister of England is on board with that as well. So, I mean, I just the thought that I can just only imagine if she gets elected, we're going to be bombing Iran and Russia. That's going to happen instantly. I can't even, I don't understand. I guess, I mean, it's because people just watch mainstream media. Like, please help us get the story out there. Somebody,
Well,
before you talk about this, hopefully someone's going to pick it up because
I'm up at least 22 hours of the day trying to
I
do just that. So
know,
slowly but surely, Rome wasn't built in a
I
day.
know you're working it.
Um,
Thank you.
Last question. On a lighter note, I'm newly single, so when
Oh.
are we making an appointment for you to dye my hair pink? Because I think it will help my I think it will help my marketability.
I think I can help you with that.
Okay.
Anytime you want to come over, I'm in Hell's Kitchen.
Cool. All right, I'm in New York too, so we'll talk. I'm very sorry you had to deal with all this garbage last week, and thank you for what you've done all campaign.